We are going to take you on a cyclo ride through Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. Going down Trong Chien Street for starters. We're just leaving the French Quarter, and we will soon be taking you into the Old Quarter of Hanoi. Rolling along in our cyclo. Hello! Cruising along on Chan Huang Road, we're passing the Sword Lake, and we'll be having more views of the lake later on, but now we're going down this grand boulevard in the front of a cyclo. You might call it a pedicab. Our driver is pedaling along behind us, and we're sitting in the front. Very popular way of getting around for the tourist in Hanoi. There they are, and not very expensive like most things in Hanoi. It's a very affordable place. Look at all these drivers just waiting to take you on a ride. They're happy to have the work, and the price depends on how long you ride and how well you bargain. If you're just taking a very short point-to-point ride using the pedicab like a taxi, it could be as little as $1 for a 5-minute ride. Or come along with us on a longer journey going through the fascinating Old Quarter of Hanoi. The map arrows show you our cyclo route through the streets of Old Hanoi. These streets are just alive with people. There's scooters, there's pedestrians, the sidewalks are packed, bicycles here and there threading their way through the traffic. Fasten your safety belts and come along for the ride. We commissioned our driver for what ended up as about a 2-hour ride. We're showing you the highlights here, flashing the different street names along as we go. And you want to negotiate with your driver before you begin the ride and make it clear, and stay somewhat flexible because you might want to ride longer than you initially thought, as we did, thinking initially, 1 hour is enough for the cyclo ride, but it was just so fascinating that we kept going, and we paid double because we kept going for 2 hours. And even at that, you might pay $10 for a very nice cyclo tour at a very leisurely pace. You see, we're just pedaling along. All the scooters are going by both directions. There doesn't seem to be much in the way of traffic control here. Pedestrians walk in the streets. There's some tourists, but you'll find it's mostly local people here. There's a guy getting a haircut right on the sidewalk. It's life in the streets, Hanoi style. Every other shop seems to be a restaurant or a clothing store. And there's little hotels tucked away in the Old Quarter. Plenty of Vietnamese tourists here in Hanoi as well. The domestic tourists outnumber foreign tourists nearly 10-1 in Hanoi. And of course, most of the people you see here are residents. A lot of younger people, they may not be residing in the Old Quarter, but they love to come to this neighborhood because it really is the heart and soul of Hanoi. Formerly called the 36 Streets because that's all they had, 36 streets. Now there's more than that, and little lanes and alleys in between. See how popular it is with the young locals in their sidewalk cafes. They've got the low tables and low stools, and kick back, have a beer, meet with your friends, watch the people go by. It's just a place to hang out and certainly a place to shop. And you can get some very inexpensive food here. You can have a complete lunch for a couple of dollars, Vietnamese style, and it's all very tasty, very healthy. They're cooking it right on the spot. And we kept going into the early twilight. There the lighting gets even more interesting, and the people are still coming on. Everywhere you look, there's more people coming at you. It's a little bit chaotic for some travelers, perhaps. Others would thrive on this kind of hubbub of activity. And you can have your cyclo driver stop anytime you want, of course, and hop off if you want to go into a shop pop in, see what they've got, no problem. The driver's going to wait for you. That's the convenience. They can park anywhere, as you see. Scooters park on the sidewalks. There's no real automobile traffic to speak of here. It's mostly pedestrians and motor scooters. Very often you'll have two people on a scooter. Very economical way to get around. Occasionally you'll see a family with three people. That's kind of pushing the rules a little bit. They have a limit, supposedly, of two people on a scooter. And you'll notice all the scooter riders are wearing their helmets. Some of the helmets are quite fashionable. Well, clothing is a real bargain in Vietnam. Most of that clothing is actually manufactured in country, so you're not paying any sort of an import duty or tax on it. And you can get some really high quality cotton clothing, very well made, at some of the best prices in the world. And the people here are quite stylish, so the clothing is going to look good. Well, as we roll along, notice the intersections here. They don't have traffic lights. There are busy streets coming together and the vehicles just mingle. They take turns. Sure, there's some beeping of horns, a little bit of noise, but the mufflers are pretty quiet. And these scooters are not big hogs. They're not like 500cc motorcycles. So they're all very economical. It's a great way to get around. This section of the Old Quarter specializes in paper goods, especially ceremonial paper goods for party supplies and for various celebrations, festivities, for funerals, for weddings. And with the lights coming on at twilight, it makes the colors seem all that much more magical. Well, we're going to continue our cyclo ride in several parts in our video here as we roll along through Hanoi's Old Quarter. And as we go, we're going to reflect a little bit upon the history of this town and tell you a little bit about the economy, about the business situation, about what's happening with the society and the culture of Vietnam today as it modernizes. And there's a lot more to see in Vietnam in addition to Hanoi. There's Ha Long Bay. You want to go visit Hoi An and Hue, the old imperial capital, and of course Saigon, the main economic center of the country.